Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good wherever you are. Today you are on Speed Gaming 3, where we are bringing you a Link to the Past Randomizer tournament match, round of 8, game 3 between WeightyWords and Doomtap. Now this is the round of 8. We started in a round of 64 bracket. Doomtap took down Amazing Ampharos, Mentos Man 8, and Bonta to get here. WeightyWords took out Rywek, Faraime, and Big Dunka to set up this matchup. So calling this match today, I am Reg. I am joined by JP. JP, why don't you tell us what we're going to be playing today?
So for today, we have a standard start with a map and compass shuffle. This is going to be pretty interesting. That means basically we're going to get the escape sequence to start the seed. And then we are also going to have maps and compasses mixed into the item pool, which means dungeons will tend to have 2 more items, but at the same time, the runners will not know what their crystals or pendants are until they get a map, or they actually finish the dungeon to find out. There's also a few other ways you could find out as well. Checking the bomb vendor, Saharsla, you can get a little info that way.
Yeah, so a lower information seed, a higher item density and dungeon seeds, combining map compass shuffle with standard mode basically means we're going immediately through escape, and you can treat that as a 7-item dungeon. The only thing we're guaranteed to find there is the one small key.
Now the other thing to note with the standard start is that since this is not guaranteed sword, they're going to get an offensive item from the uncle. We don't know what it is. There's 7 possibilities. Could be an important item, or they might have to bomb start this.
Yeah, bomb start wouldn't be too bad. These runners should be fairly well practiced at it, and it means that they won't have to hunt for bombs anywhere.
And here we go.
Uncle, a very intelligent man today.
Okay. We'll start with a vanilla lamp.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect dark rooms to be trouble for these runners if it came down to it, but having the lamp as a fire source and just not having to stress about those, always pretty nice. Of course, worth noting that even if they didn't find this, the sewers wouldn't be dark. The game basically makes Zelda act as a light cone and then gives you another free one if you have to go back after.
And the sword to start. Okay. This is feeling like an NMG start right now. Actually, no, because you don't really get the lamp in Link's house in NMG.
Nope. You wait till the sell for that, but we are about as casual as it gets right now. Of course, the only problem here so far is those guards dropped 5 arrows. That means we're not seeing bombs in the guard prize pack.
Yeah. This is just kind of a creepy start to me, because now we have a small shield as well.
Yeah. But it does mean we'll get to show off all the usual vanilla. Well, I say that, but unless we find a boomerang, we're not going to see all the usual vanilla NMG strats. Because that item's pretty great for escape.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as you mentioned, the guards are dropping arrows. So, not in the guards pack. There is another item prize pack they can check a little later on.
I can't remember if that's the rats or the snakes off the top of my head, but it's one of the two.
Yeah, the start is pretty standard. You know, with the sword, you basically can do all your normal NMG strats. There's the guaranteed small key we're gonna find in one chest in the front.
Yep. So that means everything else between here and the sanctuary is items, which those items could be maps and compasses. That's what it means to have them shuffled in, but no guarantees of anything at this point.
WeightyWords going for 8 sword swings. Same with Doomtap.
Yeah, throwing 2 pots is convenient, but it's also pretty slow compared to the sword, as long as you're good at least, and these guys are definitely good. Both of them have sub 90-minute vanilla NMG PBs, which is pretty ridiculous. I think Doomtap's actually got a 124, which is crazy for that game.
Yeah, you're pushing. We're not quite pushing world record at that point, but you are getting close to that.
Well, now that we're escorting Zelda, it's just the usual check back through the rooms we've already been through till we get up to the sewers, and then who knows, maybe we'll find a bomb in the sewers. That would be great. Heck, maybe we'll just find the boots in that dark cross chest. Save us needing the bomb.
That would work as well. They're definitely hoping to find that bomb. You never want to leave the back of escape behind. Even though it's pretty likely you'll be able to get back in there later, there's always that small chance that a glove locked back and you can't get, or the first glove locks the second.
Yeah, although even in that case, that would mean just both runners would have to walk all the way through again. So the only time loss there would be if no bomb shows up. And that 10 arrows, I think that's the same price pack we were seeing earlier with the guards, so check the rats.
Well, there's a compass. Unfortunately, in this mode, you don't really want to see compasses. They give you an item counter while you're in the dungeon, but these runners are pretty aware of their item counts.
Okay, so that rat dropped a heart. There are 2 prize packs that start with a heart. One of them has an 8 bomb drop pretty late in the pack. Doesn't look like either runner's going to really attempt to farm that out, though. And that fairy drop does confirm that this is the pack with bombs, so WeightyWords is going to try for it. And he's losing time to Doomtap, who's just skipping all the way through. He gets it, though.
But so if there's something back here, advantage Weighty. Let's see.
If there's a glove back here, definite advantage Weighty, because Doomtap would have to come all the way back. But
it's just junk.
Yeah, so whenever Doomtap finds his glove, he can just save and quit the sanctuary and walk over to that drop down. And he's probably not going to take any longer to do that than WeightyWords spent farming for that bomb. So the only real advantage Weighty has now is that he is holding the remaining 7 bombs to take to Kakariko.
Well, our runners are heading that way. Doomtap probably going to try to get his bombs, still try to farm them. There he goes, got some from the triple there. That was likely a tier 2 triple.
Yep. At least 4 kills with damage taken is tier 2. And that pull neutralizes pretty much any advantage WeightyWords had out of that late bomb drop he found.
That was a really quick Aga check. I did not see, or lumberjack check. I did not see what that was.
I am pretty sure that was a blue ruby.
It looked blue at the bottom, so I'm gonna go with you there.
Bush crab is nothing. I think WeightyWords setting up another tree pull. Here's our first map of the game.
Here, they can check that.
Yeah, would be surprised to see it checked immediately. Like, as a viewer, my experience with Map Compass Shuffle tends to be that map checks get put off until you're getting at least 2 pieces of information in White World. 2 out of 3. But Dark World's a bit more open with so many dungeons there.
Yeah. Especially this early, you don't have any dungeons you can really do yet. Might as well just do your overworld checks, figure out what you need to do, and then go from there. Like, once you maybe start thinking about a dungeon, you do your first map check to see what info you have.
Yeah, at this point, if you can't even reach the dungeon, you don't even care. And there's some blue boomerang, so sort of continuing on that vanilla-ish trend, at least in the order we're getting things.
Yeah, so far. Got a second map.
Yeah, that one won't come into play till we get our Dark World access, and maybe even then. The well is the other piece of big density in CAC, so 5 items here. The trend is pretty worrying so far, though.
A lot of rupees down here. And their second shield.
The cash is nice to have early, at least. They can afford whatever the bottle vendor's selling. They're not that far from being able to... Okay, they can afford Zora now. If they get Dark World access, they can afford Palace of Darkness, and so on.
Yeah, this is, so far, pretty much an empty Kakariko. Only a couple checks left. Nothing pointing in any direction just yet.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that the only progression we've found so far... Okay, that's... Well, no, the Mire's not even immediate progression, but it is big.
Yeah, it's a nice find, but we need either the flute or a glove to really make use of that.
Yeah, once we get to the mountain, it'll help. Once we get to the Dark World, it'll help. But for now, the only item we have that opens up any location that wasn't available to us immediately is that lamp. And that opens up one chest in Eastern Palace, excuse me.
Yeah, and that was nothing on the ledge there, so I gotta imagine Weighty's just gonna go South Shore now.
Yeah, when you've got no better direction, just you follow the density and hope that something in there pays out. South Shore is 8 checks between the Dam, Mini Moldorm Cave, and the Ice Rod Cave. The Genus Cave would make a 9th if they go that direction, but that would be a little strange routing with the save and quit involved, and I would hesitate to say that's all the same route, but we'll see how they do it.
Looks like they're all gonna go at least the Dam to Mini Moldorm Cave. There's a Cane of Samaria, which, again, nice, but not progression right now.
Yeah, we'll revisit that item in like an hour or so. I guess that Mire is a little handy here, as they're using it to erase blocks, do the dam all in one trip, and pick up that hammer. So 2 big items in the dam. 0 locations unlocked between the 2.
Yeah, we've gotten some good items for progression now, but nothing's unlocked yet. Which is concerning for later, because once things unlock, they're gonna blow the seed wide open.
Yeah, if you're concerned about that, the big item at this point to keep an eye on would be the Titan's Mitts. Because if we find those, say, before the Moon Pearl, then yeah, this seed is way open.
So we got bombs, we got another map to Eastern. That's our 3rd map. And that's about it.
That was impressively bad considering how little progression we have in the early stages here.
There's a
the
map.
map check.
Eastern hair of both crystals. Just regular blue crystals.
Yeah, that means there's still 3 more of those to be found. And then we can determine the 5-6 crystals from talking to the bomb vendor in the Dark World.
And Doomtap's gonna save and quit right there. WeightyWords heading to the Ice Rod Cave.
I'm a little surprised by that save and quit from Doomtap, because the Ice Rod Cave is a bit of a long walk, and without the Moon Pearl or the boots to do water walk trick and get the Waterfall Cave, the fake flipper play is a lot less appealing. But that is still just putting those checks even further away in the long run.
He's heading towards Eastern. I kind of like this in a way because of that early lamp. Getting that lamp so early makes you think there's something beyond a dark room.
Yeah, maybe. And I like Eastern Palace early plays a lot in general, especially if you're getting this information, the green pendant at Misery Mire. But even if it is the density at this point,
There's the Aga starter pack, but we need a Moon Pearl before we really think about that.
Yeah, pretty sure almost any runner would last location Moon Pearl on Pyramid, just because doing Aga without Moon Pearl is a very feels bad moment.
WeightyWords breaking the sequence, seeing if we can get anything. Just a piece of heart to start. Just gonna do Hobo though. That's it.
Yeah. Like I said, without some way to trigger a water walk glitch, which would most commonly be the Moon Pearl, he can't get the stuff in the Waterfall Cave. So it would just be Zora for him. And maybe if he knows some splash deletion with the item he's got, he could get the ledge items as well. Or item singular, excuse me.
So Doomtap and Eastern, Weighty probably gonna follow him close behind. Eastern will have essentially 5 items now. There's going to be a guaranteed item on Armos.
So 4 items reachable.
Yep, 4 items will be reachable in here.
And actually, that's one of the quirks of Map Compass Shuffle that needs to be stated a little more often, I feel. With the exception of I think it's just Swamp Palace. Well, I guess really with the exception of dungeons where the boss can have a small key, and Swamp Palace where the boss can be holding the big key.
Skullwoods
bosses are guaranteed. Yeah, Skullwoods as well. The bosses are guaranteed to hold items in this mode. With it's either items or keys. And if they're big keys, in the case of the 2 dungeons I just mentioned, and you brought up Skullwoods, then those lead directly to items. So bosses are more valuable, even above and beyond the extra value added to the dungeons.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of bosses that could have small keys. Ice Palace, Misery Mire, those 2 definitely can. There's your Moon Pearl.
Okay, now we're just looking for the glove and we can go to the Dark World. But for bosses holding small keys, I believe it's just Ice Palace, Mire, and Hera. With Hera, if the boss holding a small key is guaranteed to be blocking an item, just like an Argus or a Mothula holding a big key would be directly blocking a single item there. And here's the lamp block check. Let's see if that lamp in the first chest was guiding us here.
Not right now. But with that Moon Pearl, you could make the Aga play. And I think logically, there's only one other check that Doomtap has, and that would be... Well, he's got Ice Rod Cave. But Agahnim is the only other logical check we have not seen yet.
Yep. Take your poison there. Doomtap's not sure what he wants to go for, but he's turning around for the castle. He's going Aga.
Yeah, at this point, his 2 checks are basically isolated spots, opposite corners of the world. You just go for Aga, and you hope it's the right move. And at this point, it's more than likely is the right move. Oh, he hasn't checked the back of Escape.
Oh, you're right. He didn't get that bomb drop earlier. The good news is he has that mirror, so once he grabs those chests, he should be able to just mirror back to the start of the castle. So
I see
that's
chat.
a little convenient.
So I see chat talking about catfish potentially having something. They don't have a glove yet, so catfish can't have something just yet.
Yep. You have to have a glove to lift rocks to get to catfish. There is no way around that like there is with Zora.
And this is odd. Not even Zora's in logic right now. Usually you'd have access to Zora at this point, but yeah, Zora's not even in logic.
Yep. That's what it means to not have a glove. And that's what it means for Sphere 1 to be so almost totally empty. Like we got literally the only items we got in the first sphere of the game that opened up new locations are the ones that opened up Aga.
And WeightyWords looks like is going to make the Aga play. Doomtap heading that way too, so they're both going to make the Aga play, which at this point is most likely required. We don't know for sure. We won't know until we see what Agahnim has, but most likely this is a required play.
Yep. We could also see like just 2 gloves in the Dark World after they kill Aga, and that would clue us in that even if Agahnim has progression, Aga would have still been required. But for now, we're just going to see these guys run through the tower with pretty close to NMG vanilla equipment. But we are missing that bow, and that cuts off a fair few strategies.
They have the hammer if they really want to. That would help. That would give them some tempered sword damage, but so do sword spins anyway.
Yeah,
but
sword spins come with... sorry, go on.
This should be a pretty good climb for them.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but both of these guys are really well versed in the vanilla speedrun and its strats, and you're seeing these rooms done in pretty normal ways for that. Although,
they even have They even have a blue boomerang for this climb, which you usually have for this.
Yep. Boomerang pretty useful in the castle. Questionable outside it. At least as far as vanilla goes.
Now, when they do get to Dark World, they'll have some options. They can go straight to Pod. They could also use the hammer to go do some South Dark World checks. Go check up Height Cave, Stumpy, and the digging game. So they have some checks in Dark World as soon as they get there.
I've got my eye on Hype Cave, just the way this is going. Because with no bow, a lot of Palace of Darkness could get locked out immediately, and that's a pretty long walk. So I'd rather save that for more of a last resort play. And I would expect the runners to be thinking along probably similar lines.
Yeah, if you had a bottle with a potion, Pod's a little bit safer, but with no bottle and potion, you could end up going to Pod and getting locked out immediately. And that's a pretty big risk. Where you have a good number of checks anyway in the South Shore. Or South Route, I guess.
Yep. Also, remind me, what was the time difference between Doomtap and WeightyWords entering the tower? I feel like it was more of a gap than it is now, but I may just be misremembering.
I feel like it was about the same. I think Doomtap might have... it might have been a slightly smaller gap coming in.
Oh. Well, that just goes to show how good Doomtap is at the tower, because the tower climb... with this gear, pretty much the same as vanilla. Just couldn't use arrow strats in some rooms.
So if you're not familiar with Aga, the way it works, the Aga is seeded for both players, so they'll get the same pattern. The way Aga works is first shot will always be a reflectable orange ball. Second, third, and fourth will either be a reflectable orange ball or a splittable blue ball. And the fifth will always be a lightning bolt. And then it'll repeat from there.
Yep. And you have to reflect 6 of those orange balls into Agahnim in order to take him down.
You haven't even been paying attention to the blue balls, but Doomtap's got Aga down.
Yeah, I wasn't counting. It was a lot. I think it may have been 5. I'm sure chat was counting because they love counting things like that.
There's some blue mail on the pyramid. Not required, but 5 hearts, you're definitely picking that up.
Yeah, good survivability bonus there. Sort of hurts your ability to death warp, but we have the mirror, so probably won't be seeing many, if any, of those going forward. And yeah, it's just going to be the South Dark World for Doomtap.
We haven't really talked about what's on the line for these guys yet. This is game 3 of their series. Winner goes home, or winner goes home.
I mean,
loser goes home.
Winner's probably already at home, playing pretty comfortably. But yes, you're right.
Winner advances to the semifinals. Loser goes home, or stays home, whatever you want to say.
Yep, and that semifinal matchup will be against the winner of Ack the Boker and Yoshi, who's playing game 2 that may or may not be in progress right now. I don't know if it's finished yet.
Ooh, the book.
We also saw that Desert Palace and Turtle Rock are 5/6 crystals.
That book is so interesting. Man. Well, do you go to desert?
I think we go to Bombos Tablet now. Or maybe not on Doomtap.
I think that's a good point. You route Bombos to desert. Yeah, I think either route's value. It works right now. Doomtap's going to go Stumpy to dig game. You could also potentially go Bombos Tablet right into desert right now.
Yeah. The problem is whichever you choose, like if you choose Bombos into desert, then Stumpy and dig game become pretty hard to get to. And vice versa if you don't find the glove. But Doomtap is skipping. Oh, I get what Doomtap's doing. He's going to do it all here. And I think WeightyWords is doing the same thing. He's going to backtrack to the Bombos Tablet after doing this, which is a bit of a walk, but he'll hit the Grove Ledge Cave south of that on the way.
Yep. Yeah, like, without a glove, it is definitely a bit more of a walk. You got to go through a few more screens. Wait, you can give us a first check there. Just arrows, and there's just a map. So yeah, your options at this point are Bombos Tablet, Desert, Agahnim, and maybe, depending on pod, you might be able to get a bunch of chests in pod. You might get Bullocked right away.
Yep, and I am expecting to see Desert first here. Just Bombos Tablet, Agahnim, Desert, all right there.
Yeah, I agree. Desert, you're more likely to have checks, so you could also just as easily get locked out of Desert after one check. But on the way to Desert, you can get a few extra checks in, at least.
Yep, and with this being Map Compass Shuffle, that Desert check is a guaranteed chance at an item. You don't have great odds of just getting Map or Compass and then you're locked.
Yeah, exactly. Either you find an item and you have to leave, or you find a key that'll lead to more items. Weighty's gonna go check the sick kid quick, though.
Yeah, he's close by. This is a fairly reasonable check. It just makes it that much more difficult for him to walk back to Bombos Tablet and Desert area.
We did get our first bottle, but just led to 10 arrows.
And chat is pointing out WeightyWords could have bought a potion here in the shop in the village and used that to go to Palace of Darkness if he wanted to take that route, but he's just walking back to his portal.
Right, what's on the Bombos tablets? Just rupees. We also do have an extra check here I forgot about as well. The desert ledge will be accessible.
Yep, and we will see that before we go in.
Oh,
That ain't too bad.
Okay, there's some progression.
Actually, I lied. That's really bad until we find a hook shot, because that means that the front of Swamp Palace is now available to us, but not the back.
Ooh, that would be mean. That would just be mean if that's their next intended progression.
I mean, we all know, we've all seen plenty of second gloves in Swamp Palace. I'm sure we've all seen our share of first gloves in Swamp Palace as well. So
I don't know if I've seen a first glove in Swamp. I've definitely seen second. There's a small key. Doomtap can keep going in desert.
no, that's encouraging. If he finds a big key here, then he's a glove away from being able to clear the dungeon.
Yeah, definitely cannot clear that without a glove. There's the big key. Usually you're looking for boots to clear desert, not a glove.
Yeah, because gloves just restrict so many locations in this game.
Okay, there's a flute. Now Death Mountain is pretty well available.
Yep, mirror plus hammer, you can do a lot there. That flute also means that if we can't kill Landmolas now, then pretty decent chance that we can just hold out until we find the mitts and combine it with Mire area checks.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mire is a pendant.
Yeah, but there's still like the shed and checkerboard cave in the immediate area that are always decent checks.
So, also we did see on Weighty's side, he did check Agahnim, and it was just a piece of heart, so pretty much Aga required at this point. But
Yes,
now the question
absolutely.
is, which progression do you follow, flippers or flute?
Well, there's a pretty decent case to be made for the flippers. It's like at least following them to the Zora area. But the sheer number of items definitely says the flute is the way to go.
Yeah, the one thing that would worry me about flippers is if the glove was on a flipper check, in theory, your opponent might have been able to skip Aga. So how long do you want to put that off?
That's a pretty hard decision to make, and I feel like if I were erasing that situation, I would just take it as a feels bad moment and move on with it, because at that point, yes, they probably skipped Aga, but I would have had to I had to come here at some point anyways. So I would expect that to come into play more the later part of the seed if that's relevant. But what I would like to see here is a flute to 8 for the Zora area and then the mountain. Don't follow the flippers further than Zora yet.
Well, Doomtap's going to check Sick Kid as well, get his arrows.
May as well. You're in the area, so no reason to leave that behind at this point.
He went back to 4. Interesting. Okay, he's just going to do his flipper checks from here.
Oh, yeah. Doomtap didn't do Hobo earlier, did he? That was just WeightyWords?
Yep, just WeightyWords did that.
So yeah, in that case, this makes perfect sense. And he'll come back around to Zora afterwards. Also, since chat's discussing it a bit, the sword spin charge when you're activating the flute, if you release that spin charge, it removes the several second delay before you can actually activate the flute, similar to flute dashing. So if you want to use the flute immediately after activating it, the spin charge is the way to go.
So Doomtap is going to check... Well, he's going to Ice Rod Cave next, which he has not checked yet.
Yeah, just cleaning up the locations he orphaned earlier now that he's got the flute to make them a decent speed.
WeightyWords is just going to climb the mountain. He does have full Hera access at this point, can full clear that. And then it also has, of course, Eastern Death Mountain that is 8 checks over there.
Yep. On the off chance he finds 2 gloves, he can add 2 more checks to that. But Hera, it's a crystal, gotta do it. Maybe forced to sit through a tile room. We don't have a hook shot to do the now relatively standard Hera pot clip to skip that. So we'll see how that goes.
Just bombs on the old man. Doomtap gonna check the waterfall next. This is gonna be an interesting check because if Waterfall or Zora has a glove, there was an opportunity to skip Aga here. And rupees and tempered sword. Well, you'll definitely take a tempered sword.
Yep. Great damage upgrade. Free potion to boot from that cave, so not progression in any real sense, but definitely good to have been there.
Oh, Weighty so far coming up empty on Death Mountain. By only a couple checks so far. Also gonna get to see Ether Tablet right now. I don't expect Ether Tablet to have anything since the book led to something, but now watch something drop.
Yeah. It's already led to some... Oh, that's something.
Okay, well, yeah, that's not progression at least, but yeah, there's our 4 swords.
Yeah, so at this point, I would absolutely expect both runners to end this game on Gold Sword. Doomtap to actually have his fairly shortly, but we'll see what WeightyWords does after the mountain, if he'll grab that or if he finds the progression up here. And I'm pretty sure there's progression up here. The only other real place left is Pod.
Don't have to do the basement just yet.
Let's hope that we don't see that small key, because if we do, the basement is definitely some kind of item, progression or otherwise. But if the small key locks itself, then no need to worry about that.
Yeah, 35 minutes in, we don't have a crystal done yet. We should have one in the next few minutes, but... I mean, I don't think if you're these runners, you're not feeling bad about this seed at all yet. This has kind of been a slow start. I don't think there's any reason you'd feel bad quite yet, but you definitely... This has definitely felt like a long start to this seed.
Okay, I think I've seen that bomb jump setup before, but I don't understand it. But it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. I have to ask him about that later. I mean, it's a nice setup. It probably puts you right to where you need to be. Not sure how pixel perfect it would have to be, though.
Yeah, I have no idea what level of precision that requires, but it looks flashy. I do like it. And the map check only reveals what we already knew.
Easy Moldorm fight for WeightyWords. And there's some boots. Also, small key locked in the chest downstairs, so no basement
Perfect.
today.
Perfect Hera right there. Of course, what do the boots actually get us at this point as far as progression goes? They get us the bonk rocks. I think that's it.
Yeah, because you can't get to King's Tomb yet. You could Mire, but you don't have a way to get there.
Yep, we would need a hook shot or a glove to make that available to us. Guess chat's mentioning Lumberjack. I didn't mention that because we know it's garbage, but I think Doomtap was the only one to check it, right? So Weighty doesn't know.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that is another check for him, and that's not far from Bonk Rocks. So may see him blind pull that.
Most likely, if he goes for the bonk checks. Still got 7 more checks up here, though.
Yeah. And if the only progression on this mountain is the boots, I might shed a tear.
Well, like I said, we've got Pod still. We've also got the Furnace Swamp. And we got 5 more checks, so fingers crossed.
Yep. 5 checks is equivalent to places like Blind's Hideout or the Mini Moldrum Cave or the Dark World Hype Cave.
Rupees, rupees, rupees.
This is discouraging.
Rupee. Okay. So Pod or Swamp?
Doomtap's getting his boots, so at least these guys can run. Running's more fun than walking. It's decidedly not slow. But that mountain, that gets an oof from me.
We also have these bonk rocks here. Bonk rocks save us from one of these dives? Nope.
Okay, pick your poison. Pick the dungeon you can't clear.
Yeah, this is tough. Doomtap's got a potion, so Pod would be a little nicer, even if you are bow locked. But man, if you're bow locked, then almost guaranteed that Swamp would have something.
Yep. But at the same time, Swamp could just be a very, very slow nothing, and it was in Pod all along. I think Ninban in chat's got it. Like he's got how I feel about this for sure. Pod's more fun. Go to Pod. Ignore Swamp.
Weighty's gonna do his flipper checks. He'll get his gold sword, but that's about it.
Also, just as a reminder for chat, please no spoilers on the other race that is ongoing and/or about to / recently finished. Please.
Yeah, Weighty did have an opportunity to pick up a potion right there, but didn't.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure why Weighty didn't decide to grab a potion there. I've got to think that he would get one if Pod was the play he decided on. I guess at the same time, there was no guarantee of a potion there. Maybe he just intends to flute to 2 and buy one.
That's possible. He's got more than enough money.
Yeah. Or there's just the non-potion mimic clip that can be done instead.
That is true. Alright, Doomtap's gonna do his Bonk Rocks check. What's the play for these guys? Pod or Swamp?
Regardless of which one it is, you've got to start at the castle portal without any gloves.
Swamp is a crystal. We just got that piece of info.
That's just more reason not to go there, if I'm being honest.
I think Weighty's going Swamp.
Okay, then. It's not the play I would make, but it's certainly a very valid play. It's 4 items. It is straight up 4 items. So.
And Doomtap
meanwhile,
is going Swamp as well.
I know that these guys are both better than me at this game. And there's a reason that they're both fighting to make it to the top 4. But I am so disappointed right now.
So this is interesting. If Swamp doesn't pay off, they're both going to feel behind. But I mean, the seed almost is kind of pointing him this direction. The flipper checks didn't yield anything. The Mire didn't really yield anything. Boots didn't have anything. I kind of get this because they're basically saying it's given me 3 items for Swamp, and those items didn't lead me to anything else so far. So I have a strong feeling Swamp's got something.
Yeah, like the odds are not bad.
There you go.
Okay.
It's the glove. Oh.
Swamp it was. Anyways, Chad's talking about asking whether the 4-item assessment I gave of Swamp is accurate because of Map Compass Shuffle. And if you count the number of chests in the front of Swamp, there are 5 chests in the front of Swamp, one being the big chest. So either 4 of those have items, and the big key is either in the back or self-locked, which gets you 4 items. Or the big key is in the front, which means that you get 3 chests with items, plus the big key, plus an item in the big chest for 4 items. So this is a play with a set number of items for the runners.
And they're both making the right call, sticking in pod for now, or not, sticking in Swamp for now. Because you don't want to have to redrain this, especially if there's something else in here. And since this is a crystal, you're going to be clearing out a good amount of it anyway.
Also, Chad is saying that the gloves give nothing. The gloves give West Dark World Village of Outcasts access. We did not have that before. Now, we couldn't hookshot across the river. We couldn't use mitts to get to that from the south. So, and in addition, they give Land Molas too.
They also give the front of Skull Woods. They give Graveyard Ledge. They give King's Tomb. So that opens up quite a bit. Doomtap is out.
Okay, not wanting to do left side, just taking his gloves and going home. Meanwhile, WeightyWords going to be showing us if there is something here on the left side, or if he is just spending time on junk checks. Which...
Doomtap forgot those were not mitts. Those were just regular gloves.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, this will be interesting. If Weighty finds something on left side Swamp, that's a pretty big advantage. If not, then Doomtap's saving some time.
Yeah, the big thing will be is if Weighty finds something obscure on this left side Swamp. Like if he finds a semi-vanilla hook shot, or if he finds an ice rod. Because Doomtap is committing to that skip by bailing out at this point when he's already in the dungeon.
Doomtap finds a shovel at the chest game.
Mire makes that not that bad, except they've already been to Stumpy in the dig game, so not as great as it could be.
One more check for WeightyWords on left side Swamp. Nope, left side Swamp was junk.
Okay, good news for Doomtap, because it seems pretty unlikely to me that he'll go back and check that at really any point. And meanwhile, we do have Thieves down here for Doomtap. Don't know if this is a crystal or a pendant, but it's full clearable. We even got that hammer to make sure we get the big chest. Even more important in Map Compass Shuffle than it is normally.
We only have 4 dungeons pending at this point. We know 5 of the crystals. So it's a 50-50 chance on a dungeon being a crystal or pendant. And he's just going to check the front 4.
I'm surprised by that. I'm not sure what he's seeing that I'm not that's leading him to not just clear the dungeon. It is a 50-50 on whether it's a crystal or a pendant, but that's still pretty decent odds at a crystal and several items, and I thought he was falling back in for a sec.
Yeah, we are looking for the next piece of progression at this point. Probably going to be mitts at what we're looking for now, because that'll open up the most.
Mitts will open up the most, but actually, yeah, I was thinking Fire Rod might open things up, but that's only back of Skull Woods. Bow would only open up the Eastern boss and parts of Pod, including and maybe limited to the boss.
Bow would guarantee them able to clear Pod. But again, that's kind of we don't know if it's a pendant or crystal yet.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that, actually, I forgot the right side of Pod, Bow locked, so Bow unlocks anywhere from 3 to like 7 or 8 checks in Pod. Granted, several of those checks may or may not be keys, but Weighty's almost done with the front 4 checks in Thieves Town here. Will remain to be seen if he continues on.
Again, as people are coming in from the other race, we are going to ask you to please minimize spoilers.
Yeah, nobody wants those. Please respect the people who watch races on VOD later, and Doomtap finds a bow. So that's something. Also, yeah, for chat who may be showing up from the other race, the only progression we got, we got several items in the super early game. Like, we got a mirror, we got a cane pretty early, got a hammer. But by the time we finished the Sphere 1 checks, Kakariko, South Shore, and the Eastern area, the only new location really open to us was Agahnim. So got funneled into Agahnim very quickly, and then had to run all the way around, get a book out of Hype Cave to go get the flippers out of the desert area, use that to go to Swamp Palace to get your first glove. Pretty ugly.
Doomtap going to give us a graveyard ledge check. Weighty is continuing through Thieves Town. Only 2 more items in Thieves Town at this point.
Yep. Either the small key is in the cell, in which case the items are in the big chest and the boss, or the cell is an item, in which case the small key is in the big chest and therefore unreachable.
This is another check for Doomtap, King's Tomb.
Yep. This is the last chance for now for those boots to pay off. They could be required entry into Misery Mire later, but we don't have the mitts. Oh, there's an ice rod.
Okay. That is required, because we know Turtle Rock is a crystal.
Yep. Saves us from having to spend 40 minutes hunting for it later in the seed.
There's another glove, though. Oh, that's going to hurt Doomtap a bit.
Yeah. Anybody ever seen vanilla mitts before? Because they're pretty great. Doomtap's got to get funneled back in there at some point. He will bottleneck on Thieves Town, regardless of whether it's a pendant or a crystal.
He's going for
But the fact that he did...
So go ahead.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say, the fact that that Doomtap did the first 4 and then bailed hurts, but it's not the end of the world for him. And he can come to Pod, he can full clear this dungeon. Although, if he noped out of Thieves Town after the first 4, then how much a Pod is he going to do?
Well, there's an answer to our pendant crystal, and it is pendant Thieves Town. If he gets a map for Thieves Town, sees it's a pendant, that might push him off later. But that's info for Weighty, at least. And since he picked up those mitts, definitely not time lost.
Yeah, those mitts, absolutely required. Cannot beat the seed without them. But if Doomtap finds a Thieves Town map and sees that it's a pendant, when was he going to go back? will he go back before he gets bottlenecked and funneled back in there?
Looks like Weighty's going to do the Smith Chain. Now, the one thing to worry about Weighty is getting those mids opens up a lot. And there's that Ice Rod sitting at King's Tomb that is required.
Yeah, that King's Tomb can easily be routed in with Graveyard Ledge if he so chooses, especially when he goes and checks out the front of Skull Woods, which is a fairly popular check even as a dungeon you can't clear. So I'm not concerned about him missing that for a long while yet.
So Weighty saw the bug net in the peg game, but not going to pick that up.
Yeah. Net, it's lovable, but it ultimately doesn't really do anything of value.
Yeah, unless I'm playing something like Randomizer. If I was playing Randomizer, I'd consider picking it up because Randomizer can be brutal sometimes.
Yeah, Randomizer puts anti-fairies everywhere, which is more of a case for the powder than the net, but those two items make a pretty solid combination to safety.
WeityWords leaving a portal there. I think he's going to turn the chest and then flip right back to Kakariko.
With the Bombos tablet and all the other South Dark World stuff already checked, this is a very reasonable play for him. Makes perfect sense.
Well, Doomtap does get his crystal out of Eastern Palace. Most likely going to go right over to Pod.
Yep, he did open it up. He's got a portal right there, so he's going to be right into it.
I've also asked what Weighty was going to do, but it looks like he's just going to check Shovel. And this is smart because since he left his portal there, he's got to run over here.
Yeah, he could have fluted straight back to CAC, but then that would just isolate this check. Although it turns out to be nothing anyways. Yeah, even from here, he's fluting.
Yeah, he's probably going to go into Skullwoods next.
Yeah, the way his route's set up, Skull Woods, Graveyard Ledge, King's Tomb as a route from here makes perfect sense.
So if he goes into Skull Woods, though, and finds that bow, he might decide to skip out on Graveyard Ledge, and... Nope, he's going that way first. That's good for him.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right. He is skipping Skull Woods. He is routing in the Bumper Ledge here. Doomtap trying to skip the bow requirement to get to that right side. Didn't quite go his way, so he's just probably going to do it normally.
Okay, so for Weighty, he's going to do these two checks over here, which will lead him to the Ice Rod, which is good. He won't be isolating that for a long time. But it won't give him any extra progression, so he'll most likely have to go back to Skull... Well, actually, no, he might put Skullwoods off. Because... It's so tough to say. Those mids open up...
Sorry, go on.
Those mids open up a lot for him, so yeah.
Yeah, and from his current location, he could just jump across the river, go over to the Catfish, and then swing back down to the Pyramid and Palace of Darkness from there. That's certainly an option for him, although if he's without a bow when he chooses to do it, who knows what he'll be leaving behind in this dungeon. Even if he Mimic Clips, he's leaving behind the boss at the very least. Because there's a statue in this dungeon, gotta shoot its eye to move a wall to get to the boss. And it's pretty eh.
So far, not much in this pod, but as usual, the front is full of small keys, so can't say too much until we get to the back.
Yep. Guaranteed a minimum 4 small keys in the front. I think we've seen all the front, so duh. I think we saw exactly 4 there, though.
Yeah. Weighty's gonna give us a Catfish check.
That does mean that if he swings around to Palace of Darkness, it will be without a bow.
I feel like he'd be more likely to check Mire area first with those gloves. He's got the Mire out, so he's going to flute for sure after this.
Yeah, he can flute to the Mire area. He can get the shed and checkerboard cave. He can finish desert, kill the land molas because he's got a glove now. He could dip the dungeon if he so chose. Those boots will get him in the front door. And Pod has been all junk so far.
Yep, but everything else in Pod will be items. I don't know if he's got the big key, actually. That was a really quick Mire check. I think it was
Doomtap's missing the big key.
Okay, so 3 items plus then big key. Oh, there is the fire rot. Ooh.
Oh boy.
And there was
that. Yeah, that's pretty iffy for WeightyWords, especially if he goes without a bow. Because that fire rod is in a somewhat obscure location, especially if Pod's a pendant.
Well, at this point, with at least on our side, we know there's a 67% chance that Pod is a crystal.
Yeah. I think that same number applies to WeightyWords as well.
Yeah, because he has a little extra knowledge than Doomtap does.
Yeah, specifically, he knows that Thieves Town is that pendant that he has.
But I think if Doomtap doesn't find anything on Helmasaur, he'll go back to do Skull Woods. He'll finish that. And he might be funneled back into Thieves Town at that point.
Actually, yes, I believe that might be accurate. He might be out of non-MITS checks at this point.
That's the one good thing about it, of the MITS being your funneling item, because it won't take you that long until you finally actually get them.
Yeah. I mean, depending on what Turtle Rock's medallion is, Doomtap could be just a step away from go mode with those mitts. Because all he'd have to do is get the Quake out of the Mire shed.
Well, we don't know if Quake's needed for Turtle Rock. We also need need the hook shot.
Oh, right. I completely blanked on the hook shot. You're right about that. I'm silly.
Yeah, with Swamp of Crystal, you absolutely need the hook shot.
Right. I just blanked on that because we've already been in that dungeon, and it was silly.
Oh, Doomtap's got Helmasaur down as WeightyWords gets Landmola's down.
Yep. And let's see what prize Helmasaur drops. It is a crystal, so that's 3 for Doomtap. WeightyWords getting his second, has that semi-required Thieves Town pendant to boot. Say semi-required because there is required progression in the form of vanilla mitts in the back of Thieves Town, and it is super infrequent to go to the back of Thieves Town without finishing it.
WeightyWords is gonna dip pendant Mire.
Honestly, numerically speaking, these 2-item dungeons are the ones that are helped the most by Map Compass Shuffle. Because the number of potential items in there straight up doubled. Mire's a 4-item dungeon, 5 if you count the green pendant with this mode.
Yep, and he can full clear it right now. Now, it is worth noting. Oh, actually, our tracker did we get an info on Ice Palace? Because I noticed our tracker. Never mind.
Yeah, we don't know Ice Palace.
Yeah, we know Ice Palace or Skull Woods. One of the two is our last pendant. One is our last crystal. I'll have to say, regardless of which one's which, I do have to bring up the pedestal is accessible at this point, with what we know.
Yep. Of course, the only thing of value that could be on it is a hook shot, which that depends on Ice Palace's key layout if Ice Palace turns out to be the last pendant. And either the Bombos or the Ether medallions for a potential Turtle Rock requirement.
They do have the ability to check it too, which I could see Doomtap doing if he goes to Skullwoods and kills Mothula?
Yeah, Mirror plus book means your Skullwoods clear is the standard time to check bed. And to recap for chat a little bit, Doomtap got his bow out of Skullwoods that WeightyWords skipped. He took that to Palace of Darkness, where he found the fire rod in the Dark Maze. And meanwhile, WeightyWords skipped Skullwoods, which means he didn't get his bow, but he did finish Thieves Town, where he found vanilla Titan's mitts. Doomtap only did the front 4 of Thieves Town before leaving. So here's the worst part of Mire and Map Compass Shuffle. That cutscene chest that we all love so much has some kind of item in it. Could be junk. Is probably junk, but still something.
Yeah, I think the way the key logic in Mire works, this can never be a small key. This could be the big key. But either way, it's going to lead to an item.
Basically, if this chest that he's about to check were to be a small key, that would mean that the northern chest that he pulled the mirror shield out of would have to be the big key. You cannot have a small key on the firelock side without the big key, but you can have the big key without a small key. And that's basically all that really matters in Misery Mire key logic.
Let's see what we got. There's the big key.
More vanilla. This seed has actually given us a fair bit of vanilla.
Yeah, what's a good ice cream flavor that has a lot of vanilla in it, but it still has some different flavors?
I am fond of cookies and cream for something like that, personally.
That sounds good. I like that.
Sums up this seed pretty well.
We also do have Spike Haven logic. Nobody's ever checked that. Oh! Weighty finds the hook shot in Mire.
Alright, that's pretty good for him. But it doesn't get him much of anything right now besides Swamp Palace and a reassurance that it's probably not Ped. Of course, still those potential medallions lurking about that we will not know until we see Turtle Rock, but definitely reduces the odds.
Yeah, that might incentivize him to go check Dark World Death Mountain, but more likely he'll go to Swamp first. I think he's setting up Spooky Action Glitch here.
Yeah, there are a variety of different setups for Spooky. I am not clear on most of them, but I believe that was one of them.
Doomtap heading for the back of Skull Woods. 50-50 chance this is a crystal.
And regardless of what it is, we will know everything afterwards.
I think in his mind this might be only a 33% chance because he got the crystal out of Pod.
Yeah, as far as Doomtap is concerned, he's got 3 unknown dungeons with 2 pendants remaining because he doesn't know what Thieves Town is either.
WeightyWords going to take on Vitreous in a minute. He is low on health, but he's got a cape. He's got a gold sword. This should be fine.
Yeah, we're going to see the dash strats. Now, as cool as this strat looks, it's only fast if you've got a gold sword. Although what's even faster than that is gold sword versus Mothula, which in Randomizer was patched to do tempered sword class damage.
Oh, there's our last...
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we do see the last crystal there on Doomtap's side, but basically in the vanilla game, Gold Sword does the same class of damage as the spikes. The spikes do not hurt Mothula, that's a special exception. just to prevent that fight from being a total joke. So Gold Sword does no damage to Mahila in vanilla, and Randomizer patched this by making Gold Sword do tempering class damage to Moth.
So WeightyWords is going to go turn in that pendant right away.
Not a bad decision, although knowing that he's still got to take the walk to Palace of Darkness and has the mirror makes that feel a little bad. Doomtap picked up the Ether Medallion under the bridge in Skull Woods, did not check Ted.
But picking an Ether Medallion pretty much kills Ped at this point anyway, so...
Yeah, the only remaining possibility is a Bombos to open Turtle Rock. And where's Doomtap going without the mitts?
Spike Cave.
Did he leave a check? Oh, right. I think you mentioned that earlier and I forgot.
Yeah, he's got to go to Thieves Town at this point. The longer he's putting Thieves Town off, the worse it's going to get for him.
Yeah, and really his only big hope at this point is that he stumbles on the medallion, like the Bombos medallion, before finding it. But even then, he needs the mitts to get into Misery Mire to get that hook shot. So, kind of hurts.
And I think he's kind of thinking, he saw his little delay there before the save and quit. I think he's kind of starting to realize he skipped something big.
Yeah, that he needs to get back to Thieves Town at some point. It's only half a dungeon, and I think he knows it's a pendant now, because he got that crystal from Skull Woods.
Yeah, he would definitely know it's a pendant at this point. He's going to check Catfish first. Now, for WeightyWords, missing that bow in Skull Woods hurts a bit, but there is still a second bow out there.
Yeah. Missing that bow only hurts so long as he does not find that second bow, and he does not go to... Or it only hurts if he goes to pod, basically, without finding the second bow first. Anything else, he's fine.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I'm not even sure how to really classify who's really in a good position here. Because, I mean, Doomtap's got 5 dungeons down, 5 crystals. Weighty's only got 2. But Weighty has more access than Doomtap.
Yeah. It's a pretty classic example of hard to say who's ahead before we hit go mode. And even then, if this dungeon disparity holds, then we may see like Weighty enter go mode before Doomtap with 2 or 3 extra dungeons to do.
Yeah, but considering where some of those items were, I mean, there's a very strong chance after Doomtap picks up the mittens in Thieves Town, he might go straight for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, because if he can get into Turtle Rock, he can full clear it. He's got everything. But if that's a Quake that he needs, it's going to be Mire first for him. It would have to be because of Quake being in the Mire shed.
But even then, if he goes up to Death Mountain, sees it's Quake, goes checks Mire shed, gets Quake, he most likely heads straight back up there.
Yeah, that's also very possible. At that point, he would still be missing a hookshot, but gambling on hookshot in Turtle Rock is never a bad gamble. It won't pay off in this seed if that's what it comes down to, but...
So yeah, I think Weighty's in the better position, but at the same time, there's still too much to play out.
Yeah, definitely. And meanwhile, WeightyWords did attempt to get the zero cycle dash strats with Argus. Wasn't able to get it down with the full zero cycle, but still executed it pretty well. Had a clean fight, put Argus down, and that's what is... it was only his 3rd crystal, though. He's got 2 pendants, but 3 crystals.
There's a spot that with Doomtap can save some time, too, if he does not kill pendant bosses.
Yeah, and there's a decent chance he won't kill Vitreous just because at this point the odds that Hookshot is his go mode is pretty high. But he's going to kill Blind, almost certainly. There's no reason not to when you've come to the back of Thieves Town and you're not hitting go mode while in the back of the dungeon. Oh, WeightyWords left, or I say he left the big chest behind, but really the key was just so late that, yeah.
Yeah, he got in the waterfall room.
Yeah, and at that point it is just faster to go back in, I believe, rather than backtracking and doubling back all the way.
I think this is a flute to 3. He's going to check that powder right away.
Pretty reasonable from his point of view, because his only alternative is dungeons that he cannot full clear.
Doomtap grabs those mitts and he's out of Thieves Town. He's not going to kill Blind, which is good because Blind didn't have anything, so that works out fine.
Yeah, that works out for him. It's just, it's a decision, and he's going straight to Mire.
He's going to check the Mire area at least. We'll see if he goes into Mire.
Yeah, when he sees the key under the mat, that may or may not give him the push. We know that he needs to, but
he also could see that Quake Medallion and know he's got a better chance up on Death Mountain and go for it. Speaking of Death Mountain, WeightyWords is up there.
yeah, Fire Rodless Turtle Rock could get you locked out immediately, could get you all the way to Laser Bridge. Really all depends on how the keys are laid out, but from WeightyWords' perspective, he's got 6 extra chances at the Fire Rod before even entering that dungeon.
And Doomtap's going up Death Mountain. So if he's got the medallion for Turtle Rock, he's most likely about to full clear that.
Yeah, and that's not going to hurt him that badly, aside from having to climb the mountain an extra time. Because the difference between a go mode Turtle Rock and a full clear Turtle Rock, not very big. Turtle Rock's very long, very linear.
Let's see the medallion. It's Bombos.
Okay.
Turtle Rock not accessible unless we've got a key right on the doormat again.
Yep, 6 cracks at it here between these 2 caves. But if it's not here, could be anywhere.
If it's not up here, Ice Palace. We haven't even talked about Ice Palace yet. We don't want to talk about Ice Palace.
Also, yeah. Well, Doomtap's getting the news. I have to imagine that he would go Mire before Ice Palace, but I really don't know anymore.
Well, let's see if it's in Hookshot Cave. Well, 3 chests, nothing so far. Not here.
Okay, so where's WeightyWords gonna go? He's got Skull Woods, Pod, and Ice available to him.
He's gonna go do Spike Cave first.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Not isolating that location is typically a smart decision. Okay.
Now, chat does make a good point. If Bombos is a nice palace, WeightyWords can't get in there yet.
Yeah, WeightyWords would need that Fire Rod out of Palace of Darkness. And unless he wants to sequence break, which he is definitely capable of doing, he would need that bow out of Skull Woods before he can reach the Dark Maze, just because key's on the right side.
Where's he gonna go? He's going to Skull Woods, which is gonna work out for him in the end. He'll get the bow, That'll take him to pod. He'll get his fire rod. And then we'll
Yeah.
just be on the hunt for Bombos. And as Doomtap's going into Mire, I'm starting to like his position a little bit better now.
I think that they'll be pretty close to parity once Doomtap gets his hookshot and clears Swamp. But we'll see exactly how close that really is. WeightyWords gets about the nicest Skull Woods key layout you can get if you're clearing the front. Just a key in that right side lets you just run through. Even without the mirror, you can just wall master yourself back to the entrance of the dungeon.
I think it's also worth mentioning, too, that Doomtap's got extra overworld checks, too, that Weighty's already done. And most specifically, the Smith chain.
Yeah, Smith's is not a hugely time-consuming check at this point, though. You've got Mirror, you've got Flute. You can do that real quickly.
But I'm trying to think of what locations we actually have still, and I feel like it's either Ice Palace, which is 5 items in this mode, or it's Pedestal. I don't know, do we have anything else beyond those? I guess Mushroom if you found that.
Yeah, it's got to be in or behind Ice Palace at this point. I'm not coming up with anything else.
Well, that's it in Skull for Weighty for now, but that bow should send him to pod to get his fire rod.
Yeah, he'll grab those 2 crystals as well, and that'll equalize the crystal count.
I think he's checking Ped now.
Smart decision. Because at this point, like, it would be faster for him to do it after clearing Skull Woods. But this lets him know, at the very least, if he's going to have to do Ice Palace once he finds.
And
nope.
It's not Ped, so it's almost got to be an Ice Palace at this point. I think there's nowhere else.
Yeah. If it makes you feel better, though, the Ped wasn't Couch Cash.
Which, I have to bring this up, too, though. This would mean that if Bombos is nice, all 3 pendant dungeons are required anyway.
Yeah. Sometimes it be like that. And the good news is that when it is like that, you can't even say that it's oops, all dungeons. It's just all dungeons. No oops about it.
Yeah. Weighty gonna do Eastern Pod, he'll get his fire rod, go to Skull Woods, get his 6th crystal, and then at that point he'll be pretty much funneled to Ice. Doomtap gonna get his hookshot here shortly. Then he'll go into Swamp, finish that, and then he'll pretty much be funneled into Ice.
Yeah, for Doomtap, this is where leaving Blind behind might weigh on his mind, but there is literally no reason to go back there before Ice Palace.
Just a reminder for what's on the line here. This is game 3 of a 3-game set. Winner moves on to the semifinals. A lot on the line here.
Yep. Whoever wins this game gets the winner of the Act the Boker vs. Yoshi series. And game 2 of that race was earlier today. We do not know how it went at this time, and even if we did, we would not be spoiling it here. And also, while these runners are doing things that we've already seen from the other, follow them on Twitch. They do good things. And their Twitch streams are just twitch.tv/ the names you see in the boxes. Twitch.tv/WeightyWords, Twitch.tv/Doomtap. So follow them. And I'll give a shout out while we're doing this to our tracker, Ricky of Kokery. keeping the tracker lit up, doing the good things for everybody.
Well, Doomtap's got a little decided to skip Vitreous as well, which will work out for him. There was nothing back there.
And it's consistent with his decision to skip Blind. He's just getting the progression and going. And that's saving him a good chunk of time just in the walks to those boss rooms. Mire has an especially long one. WeightyWords with a fantastic block punt strat there. I didn't even know that was possible to hit the switch that way, but that was great.
So Doomtap's going to do the back. We'll see if he does the left side, but if the way he's been skipping, he might skip left side as well, though that'd be a little bit riskier as it's 2 items, and it'd also be 3 items if he doesn't come back in for big key. I don't think he could leave 3 items behind in here.
I mean, when you're hunting for just one and you know it's just one, and you're in a race like this, you certainly can do it. The question would be whether it's smart to do it, and that's a debate that I'm not going to have at this point. Well, here's WeightyWords getting his fire rod. So now the only thing he's missing is that Bombos medallion. The 2 runners are on equal footing in that regard.
Yeah, and I think Doomtap he's easily gonna finish Swamp before. He's gonna get the crystal in Swamp before Weighty finishes up the 3 crystals he needs to get between Eastern Pod and Skull Woods. The question is, what does Doomtap do next? He's got a few overworld checks pending. He will have a few checks left in Swamp.
Yeah, it's basically how hard is he going to commit to the skips he's already done. If he wants to commit to them, I see Ice Palace in the very near future. If he doesn't, then yeah, cleaning up those overworld checks is probably the way he's going to go.
Oh, unfortunately, Doomtap didn't quite skip that cycle. Had to wait a few extra seconds for Argus to leap.
Yeah, feels a little bad. Feels more than a little silly to just see him sitting there like that, but that's how the game is. That's what you gotta live with.
That's 6 crystals for Doomtap. If this was 6-6, we'd be in great shape, but it's 7-7.
Alas, we have standard mode and map compass shuffle instead of 6-6. And Doomtap is going back in. He decided 3 items too much to leave behind for his taste, I suppose.
So while Doomtap kind of has a lead at this point, it's going to be dependent on what he does after this. If he decides to go to Ice Palace right away, he'll have a decent lead. Assuming Bombos is in there, we didn't forget something. If he decides to do some overworld checks, then it still could go either way.
Yep. As far as best case scenario goes, Doomtap's got the advantage right now. But there's a lot of time that he could give back that WeightyWords is less likely to give up again.
There's Powder that gives Doomtap another overworld check he can do.
He can wrap that in very easily with the Smiths in the purple chest, though, where WeightyWords had to make a separate trip for that.
And that might incentivize him to do the Smiths and purple chest. So he can just route all that in right away. It's 4 quick checks, essentially.
Yeah, 4 quick checks just to make sure you didn't orphan the thing before you go into Ice Palace would be pretty reasonable.
Of course, we know none of them will pay off, but it would definitely give Weighty some time.
Yeah. And that time is basically, he needs that time to clear Eastern Palace and Skull Woods to get onto equal footing here. He has cleared out the front of Skull Woods. He's cleared out everything in Eastern but the boss. But there are still walks to the actual bosses to be had. And just for chat, people who may not have been paying full attention to the entire race over the past 90 minutes, as far as we're aware and as far as we can remember, it's Ice Palace. It's gotta be. There's nowhere else. We've seen everything else between the two runners.
Right, where's Doomtap going? I gotta believe this is to check do Smith Chain. Yeah, because if he was gonna go to Ice Palace, he would have just run to the right.
Probably, yeah. But like this, he can... If he was willing to take the long walk around, he could have checked Ped without having to do an extra mirror transition. But like this, he can grab the Smith, do the hammer pegs, the magic bat, turn the Smith in, get the purple chest, flute that to 7, and the thief. And like you said earlier, 4 very quick checks there when taken together.
Yeah, and at this point, I don't even expect him to have to check the pad. If it's pad, he's already decided that he'll die on that. So, pretty much. I mean...
Yeah, skipping blind, skipping vitreous is basically choosing to die on that hill, if it turns out to be. And there's Armos down with a well-executed quick kill. Basically just kill the last Armos Knight before it turns red, then it doesn't heal, and it only takes that one last shot.
So Weighty, he'll go to Skull Woods now. 2 items in the back. He'll get the ether. He'll probably get excited for a second seeing a medallion, and then that excitement will turn to sadness.
Yeah, as soon as he realizes that it's not the right one. So now does Doomtap go straight to ice from here? Well, I guess after Magic Bat, excuse me.
Magic Bat and purple
I guess
chest.
he's still got purple chest, right? I'm getting a step or two ahead of myself. Well, WeightyWords has to run through this front part of Skull Woods and get all the way through the back. That's more than a few rooms.
Yeah, assuming they both go to Ice Palace right after what they're doing, I give Doomtap about a minute or so advantage. That's about it. But of course, there might also be other checks that they haven't done that I'm not aware of. So
yeah, it's been an hour and a half, and keeping all that straight in your head not exactly easy. Could be forgetting. I don't think we're forgetting anything in the way of locations that Bombos could be outside of ice. But locations that either individual runner hasn't checked is possible.
right, where is Doomtap going? This is the ice play.
Yep, flute to 8. That's got to be it. And there's a quick moth kill for WeightyWords, so he's just got to get through this little bit of cutscene here, and then I would imagine he's off the ice as well. This is going to be like 40 seconds at most.
Not yet. He's going to go back in to get that ether medallion.
Oh, right. He's still got the bridge chest. I forgot about that.
We've already seen pedestal. Weighty won't be checking that. So the question at this point is, how deep in ice is the Bombos medallion buried? Are we gonna get it right here, or is it on cold stair or something like that? It's not here.
Yep. Trying to think. No more checks here until we get past the bomb jump, if they choose to do it. There's a case to be made for not even doing it here.
There is easily a case to not bomb jump here because you don't want to do cold stare. So you're going to full check everything else.
Even if they did want to do cold stare, we already have the big key and we have Samaria. So
yeah,
not even a time save to jump here, really.
I will say there is a new glitch that the council is currently looking on for rando, if it's going to be allowed or not. Just basically a new clip in here, which will make this dungeon very interesting for routing in the future. Unfortunately, it's still not decided, so not legal for tournaments yet, but we'll be having to keep an eye on that in the future.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on it. I'm going to wait for the decision to be made, and if it is allowed, then we'll go from there. Regardless, Doomtap is about to make his next check in this dungeon. You're in the Freezor room.
Well, not there. Continuing to check. He's going to try to do a bomb jump here.
Yeah, the bomb jumps in that room aren't terribly difficult. So, also, if chat's ever playing this game and wants to have fun, do an item dash in that icy room. Good times, I promise.
So both are going to do the Ice Pals bomb jump. There's Bombos.
Yep. So that's an hour, 34 minutes, and 28 seconds for Doomtap to enter go mode, and he is out.
So at this point,
sorry.
But at this point, it's basically going to be GT route that could decide this race.
GT route and execution across the board. Is in vanilla, Turtle Rock tends to be one of the more variable splits from what I've seen. One of the easier ones to lose a fair bit of time in. And Ganon's Tower, exactly the same way. So, Ganon's Tower routing, like you mentioned, could decide things or just equalize it back up. And just execution. Whoever plays better will have a nudge going forwards.
WeightyWords will get his go mode about 1:15 behind Doomtap. And Doomtap gets dead rocked. That'll cost him a couple seconds.
Yeah, but not a huge amount, as he's opening up the dungeon.
And there's not a lot that is going to get him with execution. Gold sword, you got blue mail, you're fine in terms of that. The only thing that we still need to know, and we don't know if either runner will get, one could get, one could not, would be silver arrows. If one finds silvers and the other doesn't, that could be very big.
I think that's about 30-ish seconds with Gold Sword, if I recall correctly. Gold Sword or Tempered, compared to doing a silverless fight. So it's definitely a time save. I'm not sure I would say it's a massive one. Well, Doomtap missed his Samaria block on the rail. That's a couple seconds right there, at a point where you don't want to lose even a single second.
Yeah. If you're these runners in this situation, your nerves are probably high. Like, you pretty much last location that Bombos. Never mind about the silvers. They're both going to get them.
Yeah, both runners are getting those. With the number of keys you need in Turtle Rock, you're not skipping that chest.
Yeah, I mean, if you're these runners, you basically last location's your go mode. not quite, but close enough. You each had different things that got you for a while. Doomtap's was more pronounced with the myths, but Weighty also got held up for a while before he found the bow and fire rod.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that hurt him that much, per se. I guess it maybe caused him to do a couple extra checks, but Doomtap did most all of the overworld anyways, and honestly at this point, I would say the lead is probably smaller than the time it takes to get from the big chest of Mire to Vitreous. I would think at most the lead is about that much.
That's actually a really good point. That is essentially where Doomtap's lead came from, is skipping 2 pendant bosses.
Yeah, like from a checks perspective, that was clearly an inefficiency and a gamble to skip them. Okay, Doomtap actually checked the lava chest when he didn't need to. He had the big key, so the best that could have been for him was a key for a key. And at that point, why spend the key on it? There was no item there that Doomtap could have gotten that would have really helped. I'm going to chalk that one up to muscle memory, but that hurts. He needs an extra ski now.
Yeah, that hurts. He's going to have to go through, get the big chest and everything now, where Weighty could save some time here.
I'm not a fan of big chest skips in this dungeon, just because it saves like 20 seconds if it pays off, and it loses multiple minutes if it doesn't. But it could be a laser bridge skip, for example, if the last key happened to be there.
And Weighty does not go through the door, so he'll save that time. And since we know there was not a small key in that chest, he'll be fine. Skipping the big chest, which did have a small key.
He will be fine if this chest is a small key. No, the last key in this dungeon is on Laser Bridge.
So they'll both do Laser Bridge, but Weighty's just gained a little more time on Doomtap.
Weighty's got a key in hand. Wait, did he skip the big chest? I was watching what Doomtap was doing.
Yeah, Weighty skipped the big chest, which had the small key. They'll both have to do Laser Bridge.
Yes, you're right. They will both be doing Laser Bridge. So the only thing Doomtap lost from checking that lava chest was having to go through those relatively slow pipes and auto transitions to get to that chest, which is time. It is time loss.
Yeah, the time in the pipes plus the time going outside of Turtle Rock. And if Weighty clears this bridge the other way, he's going to save a little time too.
If Weighty doesn't use the mirror shield to block lasers, he will save time as well, just from not having to spend time on those spins. Yeah, WeightyWords isn't having to waste time doing spins out of this because he's doing the skips to get out properly.
Oop, that'll cost him a second though.
And I think that pretty much threw away any time he gained from doing laser skips correctly.
As much as we're picking on, well, I don't want to say picking on, but as much as we're marking on every little second that they're gaining or losing, at this point, that's really what this race is coming down to. Every little second you gain or lose, it's big at this point in the race.
Exactly. That's why even the smallest time gain or time loss at this point could make the difference. But WeightyWords, even if it was just that big key chest skip, that lava chest skip, he has made up the time here. They are both in the boss room at the same time, where they entered the dungeon about a minute apart, and WeightyWords got the 0 cycle kill. So yeah, we've got a race on our hands. Ganon's tower routing, execution at any point, anything at this point could decide it.
Yeah, we're playing our game. Unfortunately, I think our bot's not working. So no leaderboard for today.
A little unfortunate, but chat can still guess 22 locations in the basement of Ganon's tower. Pick the number that will have the big key. According to Doomtap's routing, as he will be the first one to enter the tower.
Chat's saying it's about a 23-second difference between these two runners right now. Which is, if that's true, WeightyWords made of essentially 50 seconds in Turtle Rock.
And a large chunk of that was just not checking the lava chest. Doomtap did opt to skip the bottle on the torch. It had red potion in it, but he's got 15 hearts blue mail, so he's not worried.
Yeah. I'm expecting a kind of a dark magician route from Doomtap by skipping those right chests, but there's the big key. That's chest 2.
Doomtap continued to check an extra chest there. Not sure what he was looking for, but may have been looking for something. But you're right, chest 2.
Yeah. This race is now down to execution.
Yep, especially with WeightyWords taking the same route, which means he is also seeing that big key as his second check.
WeightyWords in here. He's getting the second key, so he doesn't have to get that up the tower. I don't know if that was... That might have been faster if he hadn't got the compass. That compass cost him a couple seconds there.
I don't think it was faster than just getting the mini Helmasaur key either way. But it was, if it was the very next chest, it may have been close. Okay, Doomtap entering the gauntlet here. 4 rooms of supposedly increasing combat difficulty, but with his current equipment, it's more about the movement RNG and what time he gains or loses according to that.
Yeah, essentially at what, a 3-room advantage for Doomtap at this point?
I think, yeah, about 3 to 4 rooms at this point. Doomtap's in the last room of the gauntlet, WeightyWords is on the first.
Now, there's still things that can change this. Land Mode 2, I mean, as much as you can get Land Mode 2 down to a science, sometimes they don't cooperate. But they did for Doomtap.
Yeah, with the silver arrows, you can get them as they come out pretty consistently, especially when you're at the top tier of runners like these guys are. But things can go wrong in the worst way possible there sometimes.
Weighty is down to 4 hearts, so he'll have to keep an eye on his health as he's going. Doomtap's health is still fine.
Yep, Weighty has 4 hearts, Doom's missing 4 hearts.
1 cycle for Weighty on that as well. He's continuing his climb.
Yeah, both runners have been clean throughout the top of Ganon's tower so far. If I were to have to say, just at the very basic eye test, Doom may have been slightly cleaner, but very close either way. Moldorm falls, Ganon falls, bad Aga pattern handling, anything at this point.
Doom will have to pick up a key here. He accidentally dropped both bombs. That'll cost him a second.
Nah, he's got 1 left. That's all he needs. Although if he were to run out, then that would have been bad.
He had to pick up the pot to get an extra bomb, because he only meant to drop 1 bomb, but he dropped 2.
Oh, I totally missed that he had to pick that up. So yeah, that is a second, which is not nothing at this point.
No issues on Moldorm 2.
Let's see if WeightyWords can match it. He's just a room away.
We're going into Aga 2, which can easily equalize things too if one of these runners needs an extra cycle. Oh no!
No, that you don't want to see that at this stage in the race. WeightyWords takes a fall. That's going to be a few seconds. He's going to powder the anti-fairy here for try to, not even get it.
Yeah, it was just too far out of the way.
Doomtap's got the double on that cycle, and that's Aga 2 down for Doomtap.
Yeah, and Doomtap's lead's just built even more. As long as he executes Ganon, well, this is his race.
Yep.
And with gold sword, silver arrows, there's really no reason to see Doomtap has struggled at this at all.
Right. This should be pretty free for him. He's dropping in at 147.58, 59. Ooh, WeightyWords missed one of the shots on there. He's only got 4 after the triple on the first phase.
Oh,
and the blue ball denies him that. He needs an extra cycle compared to what Doomtap needed. Does get it well, though.
Doomtap's on phase 3.
Yeah, that's what Gold Sword does for you. It's only 6 hits on each of the first 2 phases, which makes them free for 1 cycles.
Doomtap's getting a lot of warps. Remember, these are seeded warps, so Weighty will get the exact same.
Yep, no Agahnim RNG, no Ganon RNG really deciding this race unless you're bad at handling it. And aside from that one mishap on Aga too, Weighty has handled it just as well. Doomtap wasn't able to get the silver in there. Does light the torches, foregoes the torch glitch so that he can get the double here. Tried for the triple, could not get it. So just 1 arrow left for Doomtap as WeightyWords is now in the fight as well.
Plays it safe.
Silverless Slash. But this will be the last arrow in for Doomtap as WeightyWords is on phase 3. So yeah, GG's in chat for Doomtap, who's just got to cross the bridge. And he has finished with a time of 1 hour, 49 minutes, 43 seconds. Will be advancing to the round of 4, the semifinals. And meanwhile, WeightyWords on to phase 4, lodges 2 arrows in there. And that's the 4th one, so not far behind at all. And that's WeightyWords finishing in 2nd place with a time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 21 seconds. So less than 40 seconds between the two at the end when they entered Turtle Rock with about a minute difference. So let's see if we can get runners in here to talk about the seed a little bit.
It looks like, according to SRL chat, Doomtap will not be able to interview. His internet's not cooperating with him enough. We'll see if WeightyWords will come in. Yeah, I mean, this one, I think there's a lot of things you can always say in a race this close where this came down to. I mean, I think the biggest thing at this point you could look back on is, say, the time that Weighty took killing Blind and killing Vitreous, which makes a lot of sense. Blind had an item, Vitreous essentially had 2 items, but by skipping those, Doomtap basically gained the time he needed.
Yeah. And now we have WeightyWords with us. GG.
Hey, thanks.
Good tournament run.
Yeah.
No shame in how
I'm just glad that my Moldarm two-fold didn't cost me the race. I would have been a little bit more upset about that, but it was a close race, and yeah, it was a really bad seed. It was a terrible seed.
Yeah. I mean, you entered Turtle Rock about a minute behind, and you cut that down to under 40 seconds by the end, so definitely well played, even if it wasn't enough to turn it all the way around in the end.
Yeah, I can't be too upset about making it this far in the tournament, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah. So I guess, in spite of the loss, in spite of the bad seed, did you have fun with it?
So I've had so many Mitts Dark World with Agahnim required to get to East Dark World seeds this tournament. I just wanted early hammer. We got early hammer. I was okay with it. But then it came at a cost, with like every pendant dungeon having something, having to double dip a few dungeons, and it was all over the place. It was fun, but it was silly.
I think I agree with that assessment. It's like first glove in Swamp Palace. Who wants that?
Yeah, and like I honestly, I was, when I saw the flippers on Desert Ledge after getting the book out of High Cave, I was like, oh no, I hope the gloves aren't in like Waterfall Cave, and I could have skipped Aga by doing a fake flipper. But I also was like, oh, this opens up like Swamp too, and since I just checked Bombo's tablet, my portal was like up there. So even if I wanted to go back and check it quickly, I couldn't, because I never expected to find flippers on Desert Ledge. I might have gotten it a little bit earlier if I checked like Desert Ledge and Agahnim before Aga, saw the flippers, then I could have moved my portal away from Bombo's tablet onto the floor so I could check it afterwards. But it just ended up being like, you know, almost last locationing every item because they were just in pendant dungeons or in Swamp.
That was pretty much the big story of the seed. The other big thing was Doomtap made an earlier Skull Woods play, got that bow, which led him to Eastern Pod get the Fire Rod. I don't think that ultimately turned out to be the big factor in the end, because I think you were talking in SRL and he said he missed the mitts, which also means he missed the hook shot until the very end.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, it was interesting. We were trying to puzzle out which of those was the better position.
Yeah, I think it pretty much ended up equal, because like you had to go into ice anyways to get that Bombus. So you had to do every dungeon, so it wasn't a huge deal.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think time-wise, the big deciding factor this seed, like if you've got the stream up and you look at the trackers, Doomtap obviously got his items out of Thieves Town and Mire. He just cut them both off before the bosses, and I think that saved him a bit more than 40 seconds, so you could point to that and say that conscious decision. But then you could look at that for any number of things on both sides this seed and say, oh, I could have saved time here. He could have lost time or saved time there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of places, and you don't want to like look at all that. It is what it is, and like I dipped into Mire pretty early because I felt like it would have something, so that's why I just ended up full clearing it, because I really did not want to kill Vitreous, but like the green pendant definitely kind of drove me towards it for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember if Vitreous had an item as well or if it was just a key, but that may have been another factor.
Yeah, it was 2 items, so I don't know what I would have done if I knew a key was on Vidi. I'm not actually sure what I would have done, but yeah, it was too alluring to me for 2 items, so I tried to set up Spooky, and then I realized I didn't have the Fire Rod. That was fun.
Yeah, makes me feel better that I was able to identify that as a Spooky setup, because even though it's fairly old tech at this point, I'm still not entirely up to date on it. I should fix that at some point. But regardless, definitely a very well played seed from you, even if it turned out about 40 seconds behind. And great tournament run overall. And a bracket as stacked as this, even in a group stage as stacked as it was, making all the way to top 8 and strongly contesting for top 4. Definitely no shame in that.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how the tournament turned out. So.
Anyways, JP, you got anything in particular you'd like to pick Weighty's brain on here?
I feel like there was... Oh, I remember what I wanted to ask. There was one thing... It was really early in the seed. I was kind of curious about this. Okay. Your bomb jump set up in Hera using the 2 bombs.
Yeah.
I'm curious on how you set that up.
You line up your back against the little wall over there, and you just have to stand on a specific Y pixel for that first bomb. And then the second bomb you just place where you would normally place it for the Hera bomb jump, and then you just hug the statue on the left side. It's really easy to do. It's just as long as you place that first bomb in the right spot, the other spots are either you're hugging you're like up flush against the wall or up flush against the statue. It's really easy to do, and it's slower, but like I failed Hera bomb jump like more than I would like to, but I don't know why. It's not even and it's just the Hera bomb jump. Any other bomb jump I feel better with, but I just don't like that one, so I just go for the safe strat.
Okay, that's fair. I know like the safest one is if you have boots up there, which you didn't have this time because Moldorm was holding on to those.
Yep.
Yeah, and on top of that, it looks really cool.
Yeah. Shoutouts to Yagamoth for teaching me that.
Yeah, I think that was the one big question. I mean, I think you covered a lot of it. Just a pretty terrible seed overall. Just how this. I mean, what was it? Required double dip swamp. Required double dip Skull Woods. What else was required double dip? Eastern was technically required double dip.
Yeah,
I guess was as well, I believe.
Yeah, I guess you could have skipped the double dip of Skull if you went pod first after Aga got the fire rod.
So you were gonna double dip one of Potter's.
One or the other, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, just pretty ugly overall from that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. You know, collection rates are actually pretty. Well, I guess it's mostly GT because you both got the key essentially on your first collection in there.
Though yeah, it was pretty early.
You saw.
But then you made some extra checks in that Stalfos room that...
Yeah, I shouldn't have. I don't know why I did that. I wasn't really thinking, because I know the helmet key is a lot faster. And especially getting that text box from that compass, I just, like... I don't know, I was just kind of instinctual, wasn't really thinking about it. I should have just gotten the helmet key.
Yeah. I mean, you both kind of had moments like that. Like, I don't know if you were watching the restream, but on Doomtap's side, he accidentally went for the big key chest in Turtle Rock.
Yep, I saw that, yeah. That definitely happens to me. It's a real... It sucks, especially in, like, Key Sanity, when you accidentally do that.
One of my least fond memories of me racing is literally my very first Key Sanity race. I did that.
And that last key ends up being somewhere awful all the time.
Yeah, definitely muscle memory to open that door. Painful.
Mm-hmm.
But even in that case, it lost Doomtap some time, but it wasn't a make or break moment ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, good tournament run again. Thanks. I'm sure we'll be seeing you in something here soon. Forget if you're playing in the league or not.
I don't think so. I'm gonna probably take a little break. We're in the all dungeons tournament, so I'll be doing a little bit of that. But you know, whenever something pops up, I'll probably join. But for now, I'm gonna take a short break from Rando.
Yeah, that's fair. I probably did the same after my tournament run ended, so I'd definitely get that.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely the number one thing you don't want to do is burn yourself out on the practice grind.
Yep, definitely.
Anyways, I think that about does it for us then. I've been Reg, my partner's been JP, and I'll see you guys over some other race as the tournament makes its way into the last four and give JP the last word.
Yeah, also make sure to give our runners a follow. Thanks to our tracker, Ricky of Kokiri. No more races tonight. The next race on the schedule is Tuesday. P-Train and Jet Game 2 is scheduled for Tuesday nights. So a couple days off from Rando, though I think we do usually have like daily races and stuff going on. You can always tune into as well. And of course, there's plenty more in the Speed Gaming Networks to watch. So make sure to check out those channels as well. Yeah, thanks to Reg for working with me, and everyone have a good day, good night, or wherever you are.